I am amazed by this whole story. And I just want to point out that the man who identifies as a woman, that council person, that went to this guy's store in Aberdeen, Washington, and it was inside the store. There's a tiny little bitty whiteboard, and a little Yoda is holding the little bitty whiteboard, and on little thin green marker on that whiteboard, that's where it's at. And so imagine going to someone's store to get upset over a whiteboard and then telling them you back off after you actually went to them. Logic and science, they have fallen by the wayside. But this is becoming an increasingly insane thing. And we just talked about Gonzarella earlier this week. Gonzarella married a chicken, by the way, named Camilla, and they lived happily ever after. I don't know if they had chicks or whatever it is, the mystery species that Gonzo is, and it was like the worst animation, the worst voice casting. It's like they had somebody's dad doing Miss Piggy's voice. It sounded awful. And if that's what they're actually, are they forced? I mean, you see it in Blue's Clues. They had a drag queen on Blue's Clues. Can you say, is drag queen even politically correct? And I'm saying it anyway. Come cancel me. All in kids programming, and a lot of parents are like, we really didn't want to have this conversation with our children until our children could actually vocalize things, and it'd be great if we could, and then when your children get to that age where they can start to understand more, I always tell people, whatever your kids do not learn in your home, the world is going to teach them. So you need to be prepared to have these conversations. So how do you have a conversation about something as serious as this? If your kids are getting hit from, media to game everywhere, how do you even begin to have a conversation with kids about this? Well, hi, we have an answer for you. So it's a new book out, without trying to sound like What About Bob and promote, like it's by my friend Ashley St. Clair. And I actually held it up in screen this time. Normally it's always off camera. First off, can I just say that I really like the artwork, and she's going to join us in a second. We're going to bring her on, but I just have to say I really like the artwork on this. The artwork on this book is really good. And that's, as a kid who was a voracious reader, and as an adult who's still a voracious reader, that's one of the things that like really gets me. But this is a great story. Ashley St. Clair is in Brave Books. They put this out, and Ashley joins us now via Skype. And Ashley, first off, welcome to the program. I have to get your reaction though before we talk about the book. Did you see that the guy, the 78-year-old Vietnam veteran, and he's just running his Star Wars shop? I mean, that's where we're at now. That now, if you write on a little whiteboard buried inside of your Star Wars shop, someone can go find that sign and come at you and be offended. We live in a crazy world.
Yep, he was attacked by an unhinged man. So the most surprising part was that this unhinged man who decided to get upset about this and claim that he identifies as a woman, just because he's playing dress up doesn't mean anything. But this person was a city council person. Yeah. And these people are coming for our city councils. They are getting elected. And that's where we need to start fighting back, is how did we let that person get elected in the first place?
Exactly.
That was the most baffling part to me.
Exactly. Well, and and whether it is, following everything out of, like, for instance, Laurel Hubbard, and we were talking about another pundit who had her account suspended because she apparently, misgendered Laurel Hubbard, a man who competed as a man up until a couple of years ago, then decided to identify as a woman and took a female spot on that New Zealand weightlifting team. And so this is, we're in a really weird time now. This book that you have here, this launched July 20th, and it's called Elephants Are Not Birds. And I like this because, and I was looking at it, it's not heavy-handed, it's not over the top, but ultimately, I think for parents who want to get away from the drag queen story hour, and they want to get away from, the Gonzarella and everything else, and I think this is a good option I think this is a good book for parents. Talk to me about this, because this is a controversial thing to do. And aren't you canceled already, at least on one platform, for this?
Yep, the Daily Mail called it anti-trans for writing a book about a singing elephant. And we didn't want to push propaganda just on the other side. So we didn't want to introduce the confusing concept that gender could be changed, which it can't. So which is why we wanted to introduce a singing elephant, an elephant who sings really well, and then Culture the vulture comes along and says, you sing very well, you have to be a bird. Obviously, that doesn't work out too well for Kevin. So we wanted to give parents a way to talk about these things and teach kids that just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that you need to chemically castrate yourself or get hormone replacement therapy.
Yeah. Well, we're talking to Ashley St. Clair. Her new book, Elephants Are Not Birds. I like it because it's simple. The art is great. And I think you did a really good job with this. This is really well done. But also too, whatever happened to the idea of being happy with happiness in who you are and accepting who you are. And to me, as a parent, what strikes me as being so weird is if there is say there's a boy who likes, the color pink, or a girl who likes to play with trucks. That doesn't mean that someone has gender dysphoria. Where did we get that we take these huge leaps like this and immediately say, oh my gosh, that boy played with a Barbie, so probably it's because he's transgender. How did that start happening and becoming widely scientifically acceptable?
Because it's the parents pushing this on the kids for the most part. I think it's two things. The parents like to push this on the kids. We saw the case in Texas of the 6-year-old boy whose mother was pushing him to be on hormone replacement therapy. But when he was with his dad, he didn't feel like a girl. So that was a terrible case. And it's almost like those pageant moms, like the toddlers and tiara types, where they're pushing this ideological BS that they feel is going to make them more accepted, or they're going to get more attention. And then you see it in the classroom too, because the kids are getting more attention if they call themselves Amanda instead of Billy, right? And now we're seeing, Dana, that schools don't even have to report this to you. If your kid was to go off into school and claim that they were transgender in elementary school and they want to go by a different name, many schools are told not to report this to the parents if the child says not to. So this can be going on behind closed doors, and we don't even know it.
That's because kids, if they want to get their ears pierced, they have to ask parental permission. They have to show up and get their parents' permission. But with something as serious as this, and then even qualifying for like hormonal treatment and that is this is just it's pretty unbelievable. We're talking with Ashley St. Clair. She is a commentator and she's a writer, and she has a new book out, Elephants Are Not Birds, which we're talking about. And I love the way that people are trying to criticize a book that they didn't read, Ashley. And I also love this tweet that people really came at you for. It's had over 27,000 retweets. And Ashley wrote this was August 16th of 2019. Your child is not trans because he put on a dress or tried on makeup. My little brother used to eat grass as a kid, but my mom did not call him a cow and send him to the slaughterhouse. She told him to cut the redacted and stop eating grass. That's, because parenting and that. I wanted to be a flower when I was like 2 or 3, I was told. And,
yes,
my mom didn't take me to the Bayers Gardening Center. I just ended up, here I am, clearly not a flower. But I think there is something to that. What happened to parents knowing best and actually parenting?
I think this is insane. I think so many times that we're told that, the state knows better, the media knows better, and parents are not parenting anymore. They are getting their advice from the media, from what's on social media, instead of just knowing, hey, no, my kid's going to be a kid. Let kids be kids. If my kid says he's a rabbit, he's going to hop around and ask for carrots. Doesn't mean that he's trans species or whatever. Yeah. So I think parents really need to just get back involved and stop listening to the media. Stop turning on the Netflix shows. Stop turning on all of this propaganda and just get back to the cultural values, the truth. Elephants are not birds. Boys are not girls. It's really common sense. And it's so sad that this has become such a partisan issue, that saying boys are not girls is even partisan in any way.
Yeah.
And saying we don't want our kids on hormone replacement therapy is partisan.
And it's making it makes girls feel very uncomfortable. And I've noticed that, this, like for instance, this abuse of going after J.K. Rowling and calling her, and I think this is a sexist slur, TERF, the trans exclusion reactionary feminist is the phrase. And they call women who will disagree with a man who identifies as a woman, they call those women TERFs. And it's kind of bizarre that we're actually finding some common ground with, I don't know, is it like whatever wave of feminists? There's actual feminists out there going, wait a minute, where's Gloria Steinem? Where are people that are standing up for women's protections and women's representation in sports? Because those are the first things that are going. And those women are attacked. I mean, even like I said, J.K. Rowling. I mean, the Harry Potter lady. She's uncancelable, but they're going after her. What are your thoughts about how are girls going to grow up in this environment where protections are being reduced, athletic opportunities are being eliminated in favor of accommodating what very much is this? It's a modern patriarchal movement.
I think leftism was one of the best inventions by the patriarchy ever, because as you see, Dana, we have unique experiences as women, right? You know, we're not going to walk down. You might, given how many guns you own, but if I'm in New York City, I'm not going to. I'm not going to walk down the street by myself, just because there's biological differences, and men can overpower women very, very easily. But men should know not to go. My little boy should know not to go into the women's locker room. That there is a biological difference there. I don't want to live in a world where I might have a daughter who might have a man walk into the dressing room, and we say that rape culture exists and that men have this terrible issue where they like to just overpower women, but we're going to throw them into the same bathrooms and locker rooms. It makes absolutely no sense. Either there's a power differential there or there's not. But at the end of the day, these people are biologically male.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, a very good point. And I worry about what our society, our kids are growing up with. I really do. The book is Elephants Are Not Birds. And Ashley, tell people too, because I know people can go online. They can buy this book. It's part of Brave Books. They can get this book. But they can also sign up because you can do a subscription service to where you can get like actual good books for your kids. Talk to us about that.
Yep. So we have modeled it almost like Disney Plus or Netflix, where parents and grandparents could subscribe and get a book a month, each partnered with a different conservative icon. We have a lot of awesome ones coming up. One anti-communism. We have an anti-CRT one coming out with the Hodge twins. We have a pro-life one. We have an anti-cancel culture one. And we're going to have one on self-defense. But you can subscribe, get a book a month, each partnered with a different conservative icon, all focusing on the cultural issues. Obviously we love the Pledge of Allegiance ones and things like that, but we really wanted to fight back on the culture war, and just teaching kids culturally what was right. So we built an entire subscription model that keeps it coming into the door. And we didn't put it on Amazon or anything like that because, one, they like to cancel conservatives, and two, we don't want to give them any money. So it's only on brave.us. And then you can subscribe and get a book a month. We have had outstanding reaction to this launch so far. So many people are so excited. Each one comes with a map. You can put a sticker with each little character. The kids have been super excited to be unlocking those. But brave.us, they can go subscribe. And I think people will be very excited about some of the authors we have coming up.
Dana, don't you have a book coming up?
I was going to say, because I liked what they were doing so much, and I thought this is such a good idea. So, in the interest of full disclosure, I'm working with you all, and we're gonna be doing a book coming up later on this year, and so people can get more information about that later on. But brave.us, and we'll have a code for people who listen, and so just get ready to save some space on your list to Santa, folks. We'll put it like that. But I'm excited about it. You guys, I love this idea, and I just love the artwork. I know I've said that a million times, but that's just like the story's great. The characters are really well developed. I appreciate that it wasn't hastily done, and that it was, there's so much thought that's put into it. It's very whimsical at the same time, which I love that. And I feel like we don't have enough whimsy with kids. Everything is like so computerized, and to churn out as much like bad cartooning as possible, etc. So this is just really well done. And so I'm excited to work with you guys as well. But brave.us, and Ashley St. Clair, the book is Elephants Are Not Birds. And you can go and read, and I love it. And I love the activities that come with it too. So parents, go check it out. Ashley, good to talk with you. I know you'll be joining us again soon, because we'll be talking about all the other stuff that Brave's going to be coming out with. But this is great. This is a great option for kids and parents. So thanks so much for doing it and for joining me.
We're so excited to have you too.
Good to see you. Congrats. Bye-bye.